So let me start off by saying that I've been thinking about doing this for a long time. And one of the reasons that I now am ready to go and talk about business, talk about what has made me successful over these years is I think I'm ready. I think that for once in my life, I feel like I have accomplished what I had set out to do 15 years ago, which was to create a successful design and construction company, to create a successful real estate investment company, and to create a lifestyle that has made me proud, right? I made a lot of good friends in the process. I also met a lot of cool people, inspirational people. And I think now I see a lot of people after COVID, they started to realize that life is short, right? Because before COVID, everybody was asleep, a lot of people at least. So, what people realized during COVID was you could leave in a second, you could die in a heartbeat. And I think a lot of people forget that we're all going there, right? Even though it sounds cliche, a lot of people forget that. So, I think post COVID, there was so many businesses that sprung just from the fact that people realized I don't have 100 years to be here and try something when I'm in my 60s or my 70s. So you have to start. You have to take a leap of faith and just start. So I say that to say that there is a proper set of rules you can follow that's going to help you get there faster, have less mistakes, and ultimately be successful faster. The beautiful thing about business, in my opinion, doing it for so long, is that if you stick to it, sooner or later, you're going to hit, right? It's like a sport. If you practice and you practice, sooner or later, you're going to get better. And it's all compound gains, it's not overnight. So that's one of the things I try to practice as well. Wealth and money and success is accumulation of compound growth. Every time you step out in the field, every time you step out and run your business and try to level up your business, you have to compound gains. And after a while, after years, depending on how sharp you are, because there are people that are sharper than others. I've learned that, and I try to be one of the sharp ones. But there's always somebody sharper than you. There's always somebody that's going to get it faster, and that's okay. So if you start compounding your actions and you keep trying, right? By following a set of principles, you're going to get to a point of success. Now, success is something that is yet to be defined because it's depending on who you talk to that you're going to get the answer of what success really is. But I know on paper, I know a lot of successful people that wish they had my life, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean that part of being successful, in my opinion, is enjoying your success while you're having your success. So I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and became successful in their late 60s, even late 50s, right? It's not the same if you reach success and stability and business stability in your 30s versus your 60s. It's just not the same. So the point of that is try to get there fast, right? Now, my goal in my new channel and everything that I'm doing is to try to help people get there faster by preventing them on making stupid mistakes that I've made, mistakes that many other people have made. Because if you're like me, you probably did not come from a family of business owners, of successful entrepreneurs, or anybody that really showed you how to be successful in business, because business is just transactional. After you become a business owner for so many years, you start to see so many different ways to make money, right? It's an open field with no rules. There are no rules on how to play the game. The way I play it doesn't mean that it's the right way for you. The way you play it might not be the way for me, because business is just like sports. We all have God given gifts, features, and backgrounds that allow you to play the game a certain way, which is the game of business. So, strategically talking, I cannot teach you how to run your business, how to pick your destiny, and how to pick the things that you enjoy. But I can tell you that once you find those things, once you focus on what you want to do, there are ways to get there faster. And it's almost like if you want to think of college or high school, the old saying of if I only knew then what I know now, right? That applies to life. With age comes wisdom. So it's the same thing with business. I don't look down on young entrepreneurs that are cocky and that are just go getters, right? Because that's how I was. But I will say sometimes when you are driving fast, you're gonna crash, right? So sometimes you do have to slow down. You have to listen to people that have been there, that are trying to do what that are doing better than you are doing. And that's been my key to success is you get knowledge from people that you respect, but you learn from people that have done what you are trying to do. And one of the things that I've learned the hard way is always accept that there could be a better way of doing things, right? Just because you have a way of doing things, don't be so close minded that you don't take other people's advice into consideration, right? So, the whole purpose of my new podcast and what I want to talk about is the different things to do and the different things to avoid when you're going into business, especially when you're first starting off. To me, any business that is under 5 years old is a start off. And the reason I say that is because it took me about 8 years of solid business in different ventures to actually accumulate and compound enough experience, enough capital, enough resources to say, I could do this forever, right? There's a formula to success. And once you find that formula, it's just like an equation. You just plug in the numbers, you just plug in the different components, and you come up with the same product, right? You could take the same principles of a restaurant business and apply it to a medical practice business. It's the same concepts. You could take a construction company and take a plastic surgeon's office practice and they're intertwined. Success, it's the same formula, right? So the point I'm making is, whenever I talk about business, and whenever I give you this game that I want to give you, the knowledge, I want to talk about 10 things primarily, because I did write a book about the 10 most critical aspects, in my opinion, of business that you have to follow. There's going to be a lot of in betweens, but you have to have some principles, right? So we'll get into that later. It's just the introduction. And I'll leave with this, because this introduction video is short. I appreciate everybody that's watching it. I appreciate taking the time to look into my content, because I do want to create content that's positive. Eventually, I want to create a resource, maybe a group of people that help each other, that support each other, because when you're going through business, it's basically growing and having a lot of pain sometimes, right? So it's like growing pains, and you need people to be there and support you in any way they can, right? Some of us don't come from huge families. Some of us are first time business owners like myself. Some of us are people that maybe come from families that are very competitive. I've seen that in the past, right? So, whatever your background is, money and business is a common factor that can unite you and the next man, right? Money sees no color. Success is success. You could be 4'9" or 6'3" and have the same success, regardless of your features, regardless of your background. So I do want to create a network of people that help each other and allow each other to grow. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this. And I do want to motivate people too to take that step. I remember I had a client once that was an attorney working for a big firm. And he told me one day, we moved a house for him, and it was a big project for the company. Rebuilt this house, old historical house. And when we finished, he pulled me to the side and said, Lisa, I just want to tell you that I admire what you're doing, and I wish I could start my own firm. And my answer was simple. It's like, well, why don't you? Like, why don't you? Right? And he said, well, I have kids and I have responsibilities, and it's hard. And I said, yeah, that's true, but you're always going to have that. If you have a wife, I mean, she might leave, but if you have kids, they're always going to be your kids. You're going to be 90 years old with kids, with your kids. But your dream, it's going to fade. Your dream's going to fade away. Trust me. I know those people too. Most of them are those grumpy old men, right? So if you only have one life and you have a dream, vision, what's the problem, right? So some time passed, and one day he called me out of the blue and he said, hey, Alicia, I want you to come to my office. I said, okay, cool. For what? He said, well, I started my new firm. He's a personal injury attorney now. And I was a proud moment for me, because one of the reasons he said he took that step was because of me, because he saw what I was doing. And I was young at the time when I was doing this. I was like 32, which I started my company at 23, by the way. I only had one previous employer, which was for my architectural IDP hours, internship basically. And and then I started at a young age. So not that old, but you know, I've been around since 2010. So, you know, it's been a while. But the point is heaven through business is my concept. You could see it right here, heaven through business. And really what that means is you have one shot at living the best possible life you can while you're here, right? So that's my version of heaven, is heaven through business, because I truly believe that business owners are one of the few people on this earth that wake up every day and have something new to look forward to, whether it's a problem or whether it's a successful day. There are bad days, there are good days, but as a business owner, there are no 2 days alike. That I can assure you. And if you wake up every day wishing you were doing your own thing, then this is for you, right? If you wake up every day wondering how business owners operate and enjoy their day or manage their day without somebody telling them where to be, what time to be there, what time to leave, then this is for you. There are people that are destined to just be employees. They really have no dreams. They're happy, they're content. They have a job, they have a 401k. That's fine. Like, this is not for you. I can't motivate you to be a boss if you were born to be an employee. And that's not a bad thing. It's just I can't make a wolf out of a sheep. It's impossible, right? So the problem is there's people that are trapped in a situation and they feel like they can't get out of that situation. They just can't take that leap of faith. They can't. They're like my friend, the attorney. I had kids when I started my business. I also had a wife. I also had a mortgage. And I remember telling my wife, I said, I'm going to take this chance. And before I go back to work for somebody, we're probably going to be living at my parents' house. And rest in peace, my mom was gone, but you know, I knew my dad was there. So she said, okay. And she supported me. And you know, now we have multiple homes, investment properties, different things we do. And we're in the process of building our new home. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just telling you how much my life changed after I took the step and took a chance, right? So all I'm saying is heaven through business. That should be your goal, to live your version of heaven right here while we're here and enjoy it to the max, because you have one life to live. Remember that. Remember that. Remember you're going to be gone one day. And when you're in your bed, when you're pushing 60 or 70 or 80 or however God gives you, however long God gives you here on earth, don't have any regrets, man. I see it. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. The next video is going to be about the first rule to follow when you start your business. and let's go.